There it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Last Minute History, the history podcast by two idiots who got C's in those classes. I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your historian.
How you doing
Question
today?
mark with. I'm good. I have 4 stitches in my finger because I moved into a new apartment, and while I was pulling the knife block out of the box, I cut it on that and sprayed blood all over my new
Just
kitchen.
slice
So that was
yourself real
fun.
good, huh?
Yep. And then because I had drank caffeine,
Hey,
which
you
is
like
a
mark
blood
your
thinner,
territory anyway, right?
yeah, pretty much. I hope that a black light is not part of the walkthrough when we eventually move out, because they're going to go into the kitchen and be like, "What the fuck happened here?" You know?
Swear there was no murder here.
Yeah, I swear, no murder, just 4 stitches, and I made my wife almost faint. How are you, Cole?
Doing all right, man. It's been a week. My mother's birthday was Saturday, and then of course we have the eclipse today. You didn't get the eclipse where you are, huh?
We got it was like halfway, so they had some eclipse glasses, and I gotta look at it for a second. It's not really I saw your video where it just looks like evening, but it was like what,
Yeah,
3 in
it's
the
dark,
afternoon for
dude. It
you?
was. I mean,
Yeah.
the camera didn't really capture it, in my opinion, because it was legitimately like dark outside. But for what the camera I have on my phone, it kind of lights up the background a little better than probably I think it should. But it
Yeah.
was pretty dark.
Like, eclipses are such a weird anomaly of the human experience, because there were like people saying like the rapture's gonna happen today, or firebenders lose their firebending for the Avatar fans out there. So last episode we talked about the Bronze Age civilizations that would eventually collapse. In this episode, this is the collapse part of the Bronze Age collapse. So if you might remember from last time, we had our 4 big players: the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, the Assyrians, and the Egyptians. So one big thing tends to be pointed to for the reason that these civilizations fell. And to that, I say, hit it.
Look at me, I'm living free and clean amongst the sea people. We look for pirates and search for gold. Life is an adventure with the sea people. Don't ever complain, they don't call me fat. They don't make me do homework or nothing like that. This is the way life was meant to be. Laughing and singing, sea people and me. Sea people and me.
I'm gonna waiting for Cole to appear again. All right.
I'm back.
You're echoing now.
I gotta echo. All right.
Okay. So that's not what sea people means in this particular case. It wasn't the weird sea monkey things that Cartman was ordering in the mail. There is evidence of these people appearing around 900 BCE, attacking supposedly out of the ocean and just bringing these kingdoms to their knees.
Okay.
Within the space of 100 years, most of these civilizations on the ocean would not be there anymore. And usually when natural disasters or things like that happen to a society, when your shit gets broken, what do you do usually?
I mean, you either fix it or go buy new shit, right?
Yeah, you fix it usually. So these people decimated these societies all kind of within the same amount of time. And we don't really know the reason why. There are archaeological sites where you have clay tablets, if you remember from the Mesopotamia episode, the clay tablets, how they used to write, where they're like, dude, help me, I'm getting attacked by the sea people. And then And then the responses are like, we'd love to, but it's not going so great for us over here. So
Are they also getting attacked by the sea people over?
yes, there are theories as to who the sea people were. There's theories that it's either like a cause of the Bronze Age collapse, like this is the thing that caused the Bronze Age collapse, or it's a symptom of it. So if it's a cause, that means the sea people came from not around the Mediterranean. They came from somewhere else and then showed up, wrecked house, and then left again. The other possibility is that the sea people were from these Bronze Age societies, that they could have been people who were not having a good time in society and revolted. Or they could be unpaid mercenaries. If there's anything you learn from this show over the topics that we talk about, it is, for the love of God, pay your mercenaries.
Now, unpaid mercenaries, what would be the benefit of being an unpaid mercenary?
Okay, so you sign up to be a mercenary, and they're like, hey, if you go kill those people over there, we'll give you a lot of money. You do that. You kill all those people. And then you come back and you're like, where's my gold? And like, we don't have any. What do you do next?
You kill them.
You kill them, so you take their stuff. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So like we'll see that with if we do the Punic Wars, that'll come up, unpaid mercenaries, which is also kind of in this area. But
what would be the reason that might have had, like, why would one side be like, well, go kill them over there? What, didn't you say that this whole area, if I do remember correctly, our last episode, we mentioned that all these I guess cities were kind of like working in unison together.
Yeah, it's not that they were working in unison. They had kind of an uneasy peace, right? The Mycenaeans were like making most of the weapons. The Hittites were mining most of the resources to make the weapons. The Egyptians were like the breadbasket. They were making most of the food. And so they had like this kind of uneasy peace, meaning that it's not like one would attack the other in an organized fashion. There's like border skirmishes to try and gain more like territory, but because they all sort of depended on each other, one was not completely self-sufficient in what it was doing. You had this like balance in place. It's kind of like what happened with in like World War II. You have the US, the Russians, and the Americans all doing different things. They weren't winning the war on their own.
Right.
So with this, like, it's not like the sea people were the Mycenaeans who are like, all right, we got enough stuff that we've been building up for hundreds of years. Let's go fuck everything else up. You know? No. So if there's a chance that the sea people are from the outside, then what would prevent these societies from repelling the invasion?
Fire? I don't know. Everybody goes to lunch. You get that reference, right?
Yeah, I do. One of the other major things about this is that the sea people had iron.
What's it?
So not only do you have like this sudden attack taking all these societies by surprise, be it from one source or another, you have new technology being introduced in killing these people. It would be like you going back in time with a Glock and just like headshotting cavemen.
Right.
You know, they're the same kind of weapons, right? Knocked at the wall. Can I borrow some eggs? I'm gonna need another 30 feet of garden. Oh, for the like getting more territory, kinda. I mean, I'm gonna need another 30 feet of garden.
What? So this was kind of before like guns and cannons and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of how are our weapons being utilized off of a boat? Like, were they just shooting arrows off of it? Or?
Yeah. So I mentioned last time that all of these societies had charioteers as like their main form of war. Like you had like cavalry, or not cavalry because horses weren't that big yet. So you had like charioteers and infantry. And then the thing with the charioteers is that chariots are expensive to build, and they they take a long time to train the people
Right.
who fight on the chariots. So if you lose enough of these charioteers, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like by a surprise attack by people showing up with new technology. If they show up out of the ocean, kill all of your like best guys, and then your ability to wage war is diminished.
Mm-hmm.
We see this happen in many wars throughout history. Like England, for example, had these longbowmen that you would had to train your whole life to be able to shoot this longbow because it's like 6 feet tall. So you have like a really huge right arm, and these guys are like just wrecking house against the French. But eventually, the French managed to hold out and kill enough of the longbowmen that they couldn't replace them fast enough. Part of the reason that a lot of the soldiers that you see in war are dudes with spears,
Right.
or some variant of the spear, because the spear is easy to make, right? Stick, point, done. All right.
And it's kind of, you can get like medium distance on,
Yeah.
somebody who's probably 6 feet away.
It's got range, so you can hit
You can
people
also
further.
throw it,
Yeah,
There's a lot
if you have to
going on
throw
there.
it. There's that, and then it's easy to train, right? You can just get some farmer's like son, be like, "Hey, Jeff, come over here. I'm going to teach you how to like stab dudes with a spear." That's
Right.
a lot easier to train than a dude with a chariot. So
If
all
you're
that,
smart, you can trip people and whack them too, get them on the ground, then poke them, So.
yeah. I don't really know enough about the like intricacies of like weapon warfare. I'm doing like the broad strokes here. So
I
if
got you.
people want to see an episode about like weapon stuff, please comment below, because
Oh, that would be so much fun, actually. To the I guess like the evolution of weapons. That would be an interesting.
Oh, I'm down for that. Like, I was gonna say, so this podcast I was doing, we were doing just kind of in like chronological order, but after this episode, it's open. If you want to see something, if you want to hear us talk about a specific topic, please comment below.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
that's honestly, that kind of opens up. You just had a great idea. Honestly, it opened up
History of weapons. Or a
history of
specific
weapons,
type of
history
weapon.
of all kinds of things, games,
Yeah.
machineries of different kinds, all kinds. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
All right, so the weapons idea is exciting. Talk about Greek, yeah. So that'd be the Mycenaeans are like the proto Greeks, Dino. If you remember, this is like a month ago now, because we were supposed to do this episode 2 weeks ago, or last week, sorry, and then I didn't have internet in my new apartment yet. The Spectrum guy had to come and like bust a hole in the wall, grease like Travolta. Anyway, so yeah, charioteers, they're not able to replace these expensive forms of infantry. So when you have the uneasy peace with the 4 kingdoms, they don't mess with each other too hard. But if a bunch of people come out of the sea, wreck house, and then bounce, your ability to wage war is totaled. So you have that, and then you also have, after this attack, they don't rebuild. Most of society for the next few hundred years is moved inland. They moved away from the sea, despite the sea being, the ocean. You can get around. You can fish. You can, do things of that nature.
I mean, they still have to be kind of near bodies of water, though, correct? So they probably had to find freshwater sources then?
Yeah, so it'd be like lakes, rivers, stuff like that. But most civilization from that kind of retreated inland for a few hundred years because there's like the theory that the sea people just like cause so much psychic damage, right?
I mean, that makes the most sense. I mean, what do you do if you absolutely cannot fight your enemy? Your best choice is to do what you can to survive. Fuck you, I'm moving away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get the fuck away from me, bro. Like,
you retreat inland, and you just try and survive, because like this attack drove languages extinct, and it like set back human progress.
Languages.
Yeah. Um,
Because
the ol-
they what did they like absolutely just extinguish certain kinds of people then, like completely just knock them off the earth then?
yeah, it wasn't like a concerted genocide like you're getting with like the
Yeah,
Holocaust.
I mean that wasn't specifically
Yeah.
killing people, but like they probably just leveled a whole city then, huh?
Yeah, and this is thousands and thousands of years ago. So I bet there's stuff we're gonna find out in the next few decades where they're like, oh, holy shit, we just found out this particular thing about the sea people or whatever. Like there's so many possibilities of what it could be or could not be. The only society that kind of sort of survived it well was the Egyptians. And the reason for that is because they had the Nile and the ability to farm still. You just move back a few hundred miles, and then continue on from there.
And then, well, does that mean that they were probably the next, like they were the next big empire? Because I know they end up becoming basically an empire for a little bit.
Yeah, they like eventually once they rebuild, like rejuvenate, rebuild, you have entire male populations fucking decimated. So it like takes a few generations to rebuild your society to where it once was. Whereas the Assyrians, Hittites, and Mycenaeans kind of don't continue to be what they still are. The Mycenaeans eventually became the Greeks that we know and love.
Right.
How
the sea people, in regards to them, how much time are we predating, like maybe the Silk Road and Alexander the Great and all that right now?
Okay, Alexander the Great is I think in the 300 CE, so that's like 600 years. 356 BC to 323 BCE. Okay, so this is 600 years before Alexander the Great, give or take.
Shit.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. And with,
but in theory, it also isn't that long ago, too, right? Because how long ago? Well, I mean, obviously, in theory, it is, but it isn't. It depends on your point of view, I guess. Yeah. But like, when was Alexander the Great? Approximately before AD.
So if BCE is counting down, you get to 0 and then you start counting up. So
right. So like, when was Alexander the Great then? Exactly.
So Alexander the Great is like the mid 300s.
So 300 BC.
Yeah, BCE.
Or BCE.
Yeah. So go back 600 years before that, and that's when the sea people show up.
So we're roughly 3,000 years from today, is what we're talking about right now.
About, yeah.
Not that far back as far back as I thought, if I'm honest. What, like, I thought I'm just being like, I know that sounds crazy, but like I thought it was further back. When did Mesopotamia was what, 10,000 years? Is what we came up?
Yeah, Mesopotamia.
Yeah, so what the fuck what happened between Mesopotamia and the sea people? Like, there's so much that just,
I know.
Like a big bang.
I just went to the thing that like interested me the most.
No, I got you.
Right?
No, I'm not hating. I'm just like, it seems like we went from, we made an oven to now we got boats, which that was my next question is, so I assume that the invention of the sail was right around, the sea people were like, throw a sheet up there. Like, what happened?
You had rowers in navies up through like the Carthaginians and stuff. So,
really? So they rowed that shit?
Well, because you had sails and you had dudes in the bottom, like, so like when the winds come, right?
Could you imagine? You're just chilling, picking your corn or what? Well, not corn because that's over here, but like picking your rice or whatever, and just like watching your kids doing their thing, having a blast, chit chatting with your neighbors, and then you just see off in the distance on the Mediterranean, just you're like, what's going on there? That's pretty cool.
What are those?
They're throwing spears at
Yeah.
us.
Who the fuck is that? Why are their weapons gray instead of brown? What's going on? Oh my god!
Oh shit, they got Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Violent motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know they were tough because they were rowing. You know, they had some big ass arms, so you know they had range. Like
Yeah. So yeah, the possibilities of whether these sea people were an outside force that kind of like disrupted the balance, or it's these people from inside these four empires who either their situation was bad enough or they were like, we got to do something, right? When we will do the Russian Revolution on this show at some point, and that will come up again. I am hungry, I am starving, I am not able to get resources. I will fuck somebody up. I have to fuck somebody up. Right? So it could be that, or it could be somebody like people who knew enough about the people that they were invading where they're like,
I think that's what makes the most sense is that they knew where everybody was. So
yeah, the mercenaries who weren't paid, right? Where they're
Right.
like, I know that they haven't paid me. I want to get my stuff. And also it is corrupt down to the core. We can win this, you know?
So then, if that's the case, then was there some kind of like politics, like government or something like that going on, where people would come together and maybe obviously primitive, but like where they the leaders would come together and be like, we got to leave or we got to fight back or what was going on there, like, or did they just kind of all kind of scatter?
Well, you had things like kings and Egyptian pharaohs and stuff. So obviously they'd want to defend their territory, right? This is my kingdom. I gotta, fight back, and then they just lose. And then from there, whoever has like the most resources, that probably ends up being the new like mini king of wherever these societies retreated to. You don't really have stuff like democracy isn't really a concept yet.
Well, right, obviously. I was wondering if this was still a relatively more commune-based idea, or if there was like a kingdom type of deal.
You have more like autocrat is not the word I'm looking for, but like these kingdoms of like one guy is running the show, and then maybe the like if we're going with like if you're on the mercenary theory thing, then they're like, oh, his advisors don't know jack, and their charioteers are all dead. So, all right, let's go knock some heads, right?
Right.
I don't think that it would be so much a fight of like desperation, the way people were desperate enough to just try and like take a gamble. Because the new technology thing and the boats thing is really like that screams more of mercenaries to me. I think mercenaries who are like, oh, we can do this. Let's go. I got this,
The angry people or whatever. I don't know. Probably dudes who were, I don't know, like more I wouldn't say shunned from society, but more like the black sheeps and the just the guys for whatever reason feel like they were owed something, right? I'll jump on a ship and fuck everybody up. Like what was the mindset there, you think?
The mindset of what exactly?
Being like being a sea person. Like if that's truly what happened, like that is what happened. We just don't know what they were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like what do you think the mindset would be there if that was the case? If they were unpaid, what got you onto the ship in the first place, you think? In your opinion?
I don't think it's like people who took to the sea to become sea people.
Right.
I think it's I need to go over there. I'm going to get on a boat. So however it is that they.
Well, what made them violent though? If you think like if it was the unpaid mercenary thing, why all of a sudden were they like, Oh yeah, I'll take money to fuck people up. Like, what was the mindset there? If that is the case, what happened?
Well, being a mercenary is just a job.
Right.
Like my job is to go kill people, and
Is
then
this not the first time that this has happened though? Like, has there been mercenaries before, or is this the first time this has happened?
I think mercenaries have been around as long as like people hating other people has been around. You know, I don't like
Bad, dude.
I don't like Jimmy. I'm gonna hire Gary to go kill him for me. Because if I'm seen killing Jimmy, then Jimmy's family will kill me. So I gotta hire someone else to do it.
Be sure to check out Tiger King on Netflix, guys.
Oh my god. As long as prostitutes. Yes, Dino is right. Yeah, they say prostitution is the oldest profession. So yeah,
well, then that would make the other one the mercenaries just as old, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like that guy. I can't be seen killing him for whatever reason, or if I try and kill him, I'll fail. So I'll hire someone else. Yeah, mercenary is the second oldest profession. History is written by the victors. Sea people arrive. Cause of the collapse of the Bronze Age. Refuses to write anything. Leaves. Yes, that's pretty much what happened. I forgot I sent you that.
I didn't know when to throw it in, but
yeah, no, that's fair. I completely forgot that I sent that to you. I just remember the sea people thing. So
it took me 45 minutes to get both of these things up and going for this show,
okay.
and then of course it fucked up my internet, so I didn't forget.
Sorry about that.
Not your problem.
I'll fix it in editing. I just wanted to read like a primary source from from that era. So this is Ramses II. So he's the pharaoh of Egypt around this time. So possible, like just some background. Possible records of sea peoples generally, or in particular, date to two campaigns of Ramses II. The pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of Egypt, operations in or near the delta of year 2 of his reign, and the major confrontation with the Hittite Empire and allies in his 5th year of rule. The years of this long-lived pharaoh's reign are not known exactly, but they must have compromised with nearly the first half of the 13th century BC. So that's that would have been like the 1200s, right?
Okay.
So, in the second year, the attack of the Sheridan or Shredana on the Nile Delta was repulsed and defeated by Ramses. So he like drove some people back, right? They attack his domain and he's like, get out. Kicks their ass, makes them leave. An inscription by Ramses II on the stela from the Thanos, which recorded their raid, speaks of the continuous threat they posed to the Egyptians' Mediterranean coasts. The unruly Sheridan, whom no one had ever known how to combat, they came boldly sailing in their warships from the midst of the sea, none being able to withstand them. So this is like these aren't the sea people themselves, but this is like we're coming for you, motherfucker.
This is like an omen, like
yeah.
It's like the beginning of the Curse of the Black Pearl. They're like, what's going on here?
Wait, I'm trying to. What happens at the beginning of Curse of the Black Pearl?
Not quite the beginning, but like maybe like 15 minutes in, when the Black Pearl shows up and everybody's telling all these stories, and they're like, "Oh, and all these survivors," and like the whole sky starts turning black, and then the ship rolls up and it's just shooting cannons from like several thousand yards away. Like,
yeah, I just remember Jeffrey Rush going, "You best believe in ghost stories, Miss Swan. You're in one," and then he
that could do it too.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck happened to the sea people then?
We don't really know. They didn't leave any writing. All we have of the sea people are people talking about the sea people. People being like, "Dude, help! Someone is attacking me.
Yeah.
These people from the sea are like messing my stuff up." And then other kings being like, "I'd love to help, but kind of busy with my own thing here." So with all of that in mind, you're just they showed up, they pillaged, they bounced.
It's crazy that they figured out boats but didn't write anything down.
Mm-hmm.
They seem pretty primitive for
Well, boats
a
had
very
already
scientific
existed, right?
group.
Like
Well,
that's how
are these
most
the people that figured out boats, or were
no
boats already kind of a thing?
boats were already kind of a thing. The major thing that they showed up with the like surprise bitch is iron weapons.
So then they had to have come from up north of the mines, then, huh?
Yeah, so
In theory, they had to have been them
well,
motherfuckers.
iron
There was
isn't made of
what group was that? We spoke about that last.
Hittites. Hittites had the tin and copper mines.
They had to have been them motherfuckers. Then that's the only thing that makes sense. Or they
Could have
robbed
been.
them
Well, it could
somehow.
have been them. It could have been from the Mycenaeans who were the ones making the weapons, mostly.
Right, you're
So,
right.
like,
Say that.
this is why I agree with the mercenary theory, because if they are, they could be like, you go to the Hittites, you find the guy who's like, you know how in movies you have like the computer hacker guy and he's like way ahead of everybody else. So like the ancient world version of this is the guy who figured out iron.
Somebody's saying your mic died, but I hear you just fine.
I know.
No, I mean I hear him still.
So like there's the guy. So like there's some guy who figured out iron. So maybe the mercenaries get the weapons from him, or get the like raw materials from him. They go to Mycenae. They get a guy to make weapons for them, and then go back and then start messing everybody else up. But it wasn't just Egypt that they attacked. They attacked all of the kingdoms.
Right.
So this wasn't like a politically charged attack. It was just, I want my stuff,
More of a loot, huh?
Yeah. A show up, burn everything to the ground and bounce.
So was it kind of the first form of sea piracy then?
I don't know. I imagine piracy existed before this. Like there's a pirate. This is like several thousand years later, but Chen Yat-so, who's the most successful pirate ever, and she's a woman.
Actually, I did hear about that. Actually,
yeah. So I there's an extra history series on her. I recommend checking that out. But yeah, so that's kind of it. Like the sea people showed up, they destroyed a bunch of stuff, and they bounced.
Well, I mean, yeah, they probably were fucking everybody up, and they did what they're essentially the Easter Island of piracy, where they went too fucking hard, everybody ran off, and they were like, "Well, fuck." Well, now what do we do?
Yeah, there's
the
the possibility.
Have you ever seen Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
After the credits roll and the fish, they get out of the tank, but they're in the bags. They're like, yeah. Well, now what? Like,
yeah. I mean, if these are people from outside of those four kingdoms, if it's like an outside threat, and that's the major cause of the collapse, then they would just go back to where they came from. They're like, well, we took our stuff. Aces. Bye. Like,
I don't know. Can you go back? Everybody left for one, but like, also, you don't think nobody recognized any faces or anything?
I imagine the fog of war would make recognizing faces pretty hard. I can barely remember.
I don't know, man. I'd be like, I saw Tim. I saw Teddy on that boat, man. I don't care what y'all say, but I seen that motherfucker on there. All right, he was gone all week, except for when the fucking sea people showed up.
Yeah,
and he knew exactly where the fuck all my shit was, and that's because I have him over during barbecues and shit. So
I love the idea of just like your neighbor joins the like like the sea people come and he's like, can I? Yeah, and then he just uses it to like take another 30 feet of your yard. You're like, motherfucker. Damn.
It was aliens.
It was aliens. I'm not one of those people, but yeah. So as quick as that was kind of the Bronze Age collapse. Was that these people showed up, and it's not the only reason it collapsed, but this is the major like crux that everything revolves around. It could be disease, it could be some kind of famine. We don't really know, but the sea people are part of it somewhere in the chain. They're
like the most important part of the fall, huh?
Yeah, they're the chorus, they're the guitar solo of the fall. They are the I was gonna say they're the solo in Freebird. of the collapse. So any other questions about this, or?
No, I think that covers it. I actually understand what the Bronze Age collapse is more now than I did ever. So
Cool. So I guess some housekeeping before we go, which is what do you guys want to hear about or see? What do you want us to talk about? Because we do these episodes in like every 2 weeks, that means that I have the time to research. So if you want to see a particular topic done on this show, so it can be about a person, it can be an event, it can be weapons, like we brought up earlier. Put it in the comments below, because I would love to see what you guys are interested in, and I would love to like do some research and learn some stuff and say some stuff.
yeah, and it seems like we kind of caught our groove. We kind of know what we're doing a little bit now. We know how we want to do it. So I think we're gonna start kind of bumping around and kind of doing whatever we want now. Versus the last couple episodes, we kind of just stayed on a schedule. But now we're gonna remix this bitch. So.
Enough people have convinced me that it's not worth it just going in chronological order, because like you'll miss stuff. Siege engines, interesting. I'd have to do some research.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. But
so siege engines are like these big towers on wheels that you would roll them up to like a castle wall, and then there's a thing at the top, and you jump out the top, and then you're on the castle wall, and you like start fighting people.
We're turning into modern marvels, but like the dumb version.
The dumb version of modern marvels. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. For people listening on the Generation Dan RSS feed, thank you. And you can follow at Generation Dan on social media, which is my and Dino the Genetic Marvels podcast that Cole comes on a lot. You can follow.
I am. This is on your feed as well, on your channel.
Yes, it is. That's true. Oh, you're right. But also, like, for people on your end.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone here.
I got you. Well, yeah, you can check me out, Sniffing Glue 22 on all platforms. You already hear if you already hear. You can actually check me and Dino, the Genetic Marvel, tomorrow on Hammer and Cheese on this channel or on his channel. We're gonna be making, I think, salmon tomorrow. And every other Wednesday, we're moving to every other Wednesday on Sketched Out with my buddy Kyle. And then those two, Dino and Kyle, they're earlier today, and I think I don't know if they're doing every Monday, but they're doing the Life of Giants. And then obviously this is every other Monday. Me and my sister, every Saturday we do the Greatest Goddamn Show on air. We just kind of talk about conspiracies and we just talk about anything really. And then every other weekend meals with my son Jack. And I just did one episode this past Saturday, so 2 weeks from now we'll do another one. Atlas, go ahead and plug your shows real quick.
We'll do. First off, April 21st, roasting Cole for his birthday too.
I'll have to have a banner up for that in a second, so we're doing that after.
Nice. Yeah, and then you can follow me at Atlas Novak. That's Novack. If you're listening to this. On all the social media, I have a YouTube channel called The Epileptic Comic. It's mostly short sketches with some stuff about having epilepsy. Then I already said Generation Dan. That's my show with Dino. And then my other podcast is Nexus at Night, which is a podcast about the trading card game Card Fight Vanguard. If that's not your bag, I get it. That's all cool. So yeah. Don't
sell yourself short, Atlas.
If you say so.
But yeah, I think that's it. Put it in the chat or hit us up directly if you want us to talk about anything history-wise.
Yep.
And please like and subscribe, guys. Thank you, and bye.
Bye.